Hello, hello, and as promised, here is my haul of all the goodies I got in Japan. So I was lucky enough to go to Japan in October of this year. I went to Hiroshima, Osaka, Kyoto, and Tokyo, and it is a beautiful country. I 100% recommend going if you're able to. I would love to go again if I get the chance. I don't know if that is in my future, but it was fantastic. And there are so many other places of Japan that I would love to see and explore. But here is what I brought. I did buy a lot, but I've been really strict on myself this year, knowing this trip was coming up. So I didn't buy much previously. So I spent a lot of money here because I saved with this in mind. Um, Now I'm going to start with these sort of art products that I brought, and then I'll get into the art supplies later, and I'll try and put everything in chapters down below. But I brought these really, really cute kits with pipe cleaner kits from a store called Hands, which is a lot like Daiso that we have here in Australia, that is also a Japanese uh, company. And obviously there was Daiso stores there, but other really good cheap stores to check out. The Three Coin Shop, 100 yen store, Don Quixote. I'll link everything down below. But if you go to Japan, you will run into these stores unless you're going incredibly rural. They're everywhere and they're fantastic. And I can't wait to use these in my journaling, which is something that I can't wait to get back into. um, if you've watched my previous video, you know this year was a bit tricky for me, so I fell out of love with a lot of my hobbies, but I'm very inspired to get going again. Now, I also brought a lot of postcards, amongst other things, that have traditional wood print art on them, replicated, obviously. But there's like this one here by Utagawa Kuniyoshi, a very beautiful piece. And these two here, which are play on the 53 stages of Tokaido, changing them to add yokai into them. I brought them from a place called Toei Studio Park in Kyoto, which is a theme park based around the traditional look in the Edo period, I believe, Edo period. And they have different festivals at different times of year, and they had a yokai festival on while we were there, and they had an artist alley on the day we went, which just happened to coincide really well. So there was a lot of art I was able to get there that was absolutely beautiful. Now that postcard and those stickers and this card here were all from a store called Country Cat in Hiroshima, which is an adorable store full of wonderful knickknacks and bits and pieces. And I've got a few other things in here from there. I did not put things together very well as I just um emptied everything out and am going through it. But I would 100% recommend going to Country Cat if you find yourself in Hiroshima, and I 100% recommend going to Hiroshima. It is a beautiful, beautiful city, very, very tragic history, um, but there's a lot of respect placed around it, and it's very, very beautiful. Now, these are some more wood print replicas on postcards. I got these at the Tokyo Government Metropolitan Building in Shinjuku, which is a building I 100% recommend you go to. It is free to enter, and you get a surround view of Tokyo. But unlike the Sky Tower and the Sky Tree, it is free to enter, so you can just go up there. There's a touristy products to purchase, but they're really fun. And there's also a cafe up there that sells delicious ice cream. Um, so 100% recommend going there. Now, I also brought these goodies from the Artist Alley at the Yokai Festival, and these ones are by Uji Yokai, and they are a kappa, which is the green figure, and a otter. Um, I will link all their socials down below. Same with this one here, Mary Yokai or Mary Milky. I'll link everything down below. But I love this piece. It is on like the traditional gold edged frame, but with a very like modern style, and it is so cute. I really liked their work. Now this was another stickers. These stickers were also from Country Cat. They're produced by a company called Gakyon, and they're super cute. Because of the eggs, I get a real Easter theme from them, so I can't wait to use them for that. But it's an absolutely beautiful piece of art. I couldn't find the artist, but it's made by a company called Gakyon, or produced by. At this sticker I got at the Artist Alley in the Yokai Festival as well, by Sorano Megumi, or at EK_Jasmine. It is a beautiful piece with the mandala and the creepy spider head and that hot pink. Absolutely stunning. I can't wait to use that in my journaling, just like these stickers. I believe I brought these ones from the 3 Coin store, and these stickers I think were from Hans. They're all over the place, so you'll find lots of really good stickers if you're into journaling like that. Um, yes, 100% recommend you check those out. Now, this was also from the Country Cat shop. Um, it is a really, really cute little envelope made by a group called Nakamura, I believe. So I 100% recommend going to Country Cat, as I've said, sorry. And now this I got from a place called Kamichi Kakimoto in Kyoto, which I will talk more about because I brought some art supply products there. Um, and this is another traditional piece from Hokusai, which I brought a lot of replicas of his work. And this is a beautiful piece by Ayami Nakazawa. I got these from a building in Shinjuku, the Maru Annex 0101 on the third floor. I 100% recommend you check it out. It seems very well established, but it has a lot of artists' work in there. It had things like bags and t-shirts and lots of postcards from artists. So I 100% recommend you check it out. Um, like this postcard here by Sayuri Fujimaki. It is absolutely beautiful piece. The same with these here by Shibao Shibao. I do hope I am pronouncing these correctly. I am doing my best. I find I can speak a little bit of Japanese, but I'm still learning and I can't read it very well. So I'm doing my best with the pronunciation. But there are nuances that I haven't picked up yet. But the absolute detail that goes into those works, and these ones here, which is the Wonder Collection by Yo, uh, absolutely stunning pieces. Even the detail on the back of the postcard, there's so much going on. Um, so if you are interested in art like this, the Maru Annex building in Shinjuku, uh, third floor, I 100% recommend going. Again, everything will be linked, but just look at this work. It is so stunning. I'm going to have a difficult time laying everything out because I have a limited amount of space and I already have so many art pieces. I have a lot of postcard size art pieces because I love other people's art, so I keep buying it, but a limited amount of space where I can display it. Like the same with these absolutely stunning pieces. I believe they're by Kato, which I brought in the Kyoto market, which I will link down below. It was crazy busy when I went, uncomfortably busy. So keep that in mind, but absolutely worth it. These are more pieces by Hokusai. There's some of the 36 views of Mount Fuji. Again, stunning pieces, and they were bamboo sheets, which I thought were really unique. And these are a series of postcards by Shibata Zenshin, which absolutely stunning. I don't recall where I brought these ones, but I will link everything down below, as I've said. But they're just such beautiful pieces. They're deceptively simple. I could probably use these as studies to try and help me work on my own pieces because then small, but there's a lot of detail in there and a really, really beautiful use of color. Oh, they're so, so pretty. I am so lucky to have them. Um, I There's so much beautiful art to be able to be gotten in Japan. And if I had more space to display things, I would, be buying larger pieces. Um, but then I'd run out of space because I'd buy too many large pieces. So maybe when I finally move out on my own, I will have a house that is just full of postcards by different artists, all just stuck up everywhere on the walls. It will be insane, but it will look beautiful. Now I brought this from a place in Kyoto called Stationery Shop Tag, Teramachi Sanjo, which was very, very cool. It looks just like a stationery shop at the front, and then you go through it, and there was all these art supplies hidden away at the back. It was very, very cool. Um, Definitely recommend you go there. Again, we'll link it down below. Now this is a tarot deck just of the major arcana. Sorry, I can't speak. The major arcana from an artist Nanami, which I also brought at the annex building in Shinjuku, and they are absolutely beautiful. I I love the art in tarot decks. I have a lot of tarot decks because I see one that has beautiful art and then have to get it. I enjoy tarot readings as a sort of fun thing between friends. I have some people in my life who are very, very into it. Um, but I am, you get out what you put in when you do a tarot reading. You will read into it what you want to read. And I think that is fine. I'm not a huge believer in outside of the spirituality. However, I have a lot of tarot decks, so that might confuse some people, but I love the art that I have. Um, well, that's something if anyone's interested, I could go through all the tarot decks I have and just show the art. Not all of it like I am here, as I think, there are 78 cards per deck. But the major arcana is a really good place to start. I think they're absolutely stunning, and I have no idea how I'm going to display them because with all my other tarot decks, they've just sort of built up because I have no room to display all the art I have. Here are some more traditional style prints on postcards. They are traditional prints. They're just the replicas. And these ones are by Hiroshige Utagawa. Um, Absolutely beautiful pieces. I love the look of those traditional pieces. They are so, so stunning. And there's a simple beauty in them. I know that the work is not simple, like wood carving is difficult, but the end result is so beautiful in such a simple way. Now, these papers were all brought from, I think, Hands, but they are by a company called Amifa, and these are the design papers. And Amifa did a lot of the stickers. They are found everywhere. So these are different works that you will find in a lot of different places. If not these ones exactly, very very similar things across the I don't want to say cheap stores, um, because that makes them sound like these aren't beautiful pieces of art in and of themselves. But they are your dollar stores, I guess. But I still value them highly. I think they are beautiful and absolutely. I'm going to use them in my journaling, and maybe I'll get into collage. I'm kind of hoping to do some collaging. Um, but these are also from the Yokai Festival, as are these sticky stamps. If you know anything about Japan, you know stamps are very big there, and they're lots of fun to collect. Now, these are by an artist, Kuki Masachika. Again, we'll link down below. Um, Absolutely beautiful pieces of art, and there was like a dozen um, postcards that I wanted to buy, but not only do I have, some sort of budget, but I also have to get everything home. And my suitcase was ordering like it was maybe a kilo from being too thick. Too thick? Too heavy. I know what I mean. Words are just difficult. But this is a map from the Thousand Torii Gates, which was absolutely stunning. Again, I don't know how I'm going to display that, but I really, really like it. And this notebook I brought just because I loved the collage cover, which is by Kuku Sush Sushido. Sushihiro. I know I'm butchered that one. I apologize. Again, I will link everything below. But I brought those at the Toei Studio Parks as well. These are by an artist, Asita Ohora. Sorry, Asita Nohora. Very beautiful. And the other postcards were from the park itself. The Midori Nagata illustrations. Again, 100% recommend you go to Toy Studio Parks anytime you. I'm sure it will be fabulous. And I brought these beautiful prints, or they might even be hand drawn because they're from a second-hand shop um, called Nakao Shoten, uh, which is in Osaka. And I also brought this stamp book, which is like what I was talking before, but these are like your traditional stamps. It's an older stamp book, and I believe some of these stamps might be out of circulation now. Um, but it's absolutely stunning. I don't know what I'm going to do with this at all. Um, but I wanted it, so I had to get it, obviously. um, these are also from the Wonder Collection by Yo. They are slightly bigger, which is going to be harder for me to display, but I couldn't pass them up. They're just too beautiful. And yeah, I also brought this book, which is also by Nanami. Um, Absolutely stunning. I am so, so lucky to be able to have gotten all these. Now on to the actual art supplies. Now, I brought these inks and stamps from a place called Itoya, which, if you know anything about art supplies and stationery in Japan, it is an incredibly famous building. It is a 9-story stationery store in Ginza, Tokyo. But it doesn't just have stationery, it has art supplies, it has gift cards, it has a floor dedicated to special pens. I think it even has a food court up the top. Um, but it is definitely a place to check out. So it was incredibly, incredibly busy when I went, which made it very hard to get around. But I brought these stamps from brand Kodomo no Kao, which I will swatch out in a separate video because this video got really quite long, but that one will be out soon. I have already swatched everything out. I just need to edit it and do the voiceover. Um, so that will be coming out very, very soon. Now, this is a bunch of stamps I brought for my mum. They are from a brand called Tsukineko, which means mooncat, which is adorable. But the Stazon range is an incredibly well formulated product that is not reactivated once it's dry. So my mum can stamp over it, get it wet, but once she's stamped it down, it won't move. And she really likes to use that in her junk journaling, and it makes life easier than inks that run in that sense. So I got these for her. I got a whole heap because they were significantly cheaper than you're able to get them here. They are just over half price in Japan than they are compared to Australia. So I brought her a whole ton. They're a gift for her. So I am not swatching them out. Uh, Maybe she will let me. I will touch base. That will be a separate video. But I got the colors peacock feather, chocolate brown, piano black, mariner blue, snowflake, koala grey in the larger set, and then olive green, spice chai, jet black, ganache, and orange zest in these smaller ones. Now, if you're really interested in seeing these swatched out, comment down below and I will use that as blackmail to let my mum use the gift that I brought her for myself, as you do. I would like to test out piano black and jet black to see the difference, to see if it's worth having both. Um, but if I'm able to get that done, you will see the video come out soon. Now, these are inks from a brand called Kuretake, which is a quite well-known brand in, I think, the fine liner range. I did not know that they were by Kuretake. I brought them because my little scan translator tool told me that they were gold sparkle and silver sparkle, and I love sparkly products. They're much more shimmery than sparkly, but I love shimmer as well. And I can't wait to use them as little accents on a lot of different pieces. So I'm very, very excited to have them. Now, another store I went to is Kamiji Takimoto, which I mentioned before. They are paper makers in Kyoto, and they sell a lot of other goodies, like this concertina book here, which is another Hokusai print. This one is South Wind Clear Dawn. I clearly love this style of art and love that artist. Um, Now, traditionally, you buy these to get special stamps from temples in them. Now, I have a separate book for that, but this one I have a semi plan for it, but I'm not too sure how it's going to work out. But we shall see. Now, this is washi paper, and as you can see, it's quite fibrous. Um, and it has like lines of material running through it, sort of like fiber. I think it's made from mulberry. I'll have to look into that. And I brought it in a range of colors because it was just so pretty, and they hand make this stuff right there in the store, I believe. Or if not in the store, it's associated with the store. It's all handmade. Now this is another kind of washi paper. It's called Tsunome. So it's slightly different. It's a lot thicker. It's really good absorbency. It is known for those parallel lines, which makes it very durable. And so it's used a lot for origami, which is very, very cool. And these are cuts collected together, just like gold. And if you just heard me before, I love shiny, sparkly things. So I can't wait to use them. I would love to try collage this year, so we'll see how that goes. Now these are also from Itoya, and I brought some lino print pads because I want to give that another go. I haven't done lino printing in 10 years. I think it's been a decade. Oh, I think it's been 11 years actually. Time really flies. But I got so inspired by all the different wood print images that I saw. Wood printing is a little out of my range at the moment, I think, but lino printing is definitely something I could try. Now, this is a memo pad from Takeo Paper Products, which is another really old brand. It is from 1899. So it's been well established, but I loved the texture of these pads and I thought I could use them in my journaling and it would be a lot of fun. Maybe I could use them in collage if I do get into that. And I also brought this watercolor book from Rhodia Touch. It's 100% cotton and I really like the square shape. It's stunk. Like it's got a weird rubbery, I don't even know. It's just a really bad smell. It reminds me of like I don't know if anyone else has ever worked in an area where you had to rip apart a lot of plastic, cardboard boxes that contain drinks like cans, Pepsi, Coke. It smells like the glue from that. It was very, very weird. So I hope it airs out and I'm able to use it and the smell goes away because otherwise that's really going to bother me. It's very annoying. Um, I also brought Holbein products because when you're in Japan, Holbein is significantly cheaper than it is anywhere else because it is a Japanese company. And I have wanted to get my hands on some Holbein watercolor and gouache for ages, so I brought both. I spoilt myself. It was significantly cheaper, I would say a good 30%, 40% cheaper than I can get it here in Australia. So I can't wait to use these. Um, it's something about it being like slightly cheaper makes it feel like a little less like, oh my God, I can't touch these. I can't use these till I'm perfect at watercolor, or a gouache. So hopefully I can get into my own head and be like, yes, just use them. But the watercolor set came with this paper from White Ibis, which is a Holbein subsidiary. They're like paper making section. And so I guess they're little tester sheets to see if you like them to try and get you to buy them. Which is really cool. They feel cold press and they're quite thick. I'm not sure if they're 100% cotton, so I'll have to test them out and look more into it, get a like good translation of that Japanese. So like I said, I can speak very, very minor Japanese. I can't read much of it at all. I can read maybe 20 kanji, but context changes everything, so it makes it very difficult. Um, but yeah, no, Google Translate comes in clutch very frequently. So while I was in Itoya, I also brought some Sennelier Oil Pastels, which they weren't significantly cheaper. I don't think they are a French brand, so they're about the same price in Japan as they are in Australia. But when you get into a bit of a buying frenzy, it becomes very easy just to pick up another thing and add it to the list. And oil pastel is probably the medium that I always keep coming back to when I'm in a slump. It is so easy to create things very quickly and to feel like you're in control again. So I love oil pastels, and Sennelier is one of the most highly rated brands from other people. So I definitely want to get into using these. But as I just mentioned, when things are expensive, they're frightening to use as someone who feels like a poor artist. So I've got to get out of my own headspace, and I'm like challenging myself to enjoy the supplies that I've brought. Um, Speaking of oil pastels, I brought some Holbein oil pastels because of course I did. I brought these from a store called Sakaido, which is another well-known art supply store. This one is in Shinjuku, Tokyo, which was really, really close to my hotel. I passed it every day walking into town, which was very, very tempting. But this was towards the end of my trip, so I realized I have brought a lot of art supplies, so I don't need to buy more. So I did get these, because I'm buying everything Holbein, and a palette knife because I'd love to play with impasto. But like I said, it feels like because impasto with oil pastel is feels like a waste, like I'm using too much. But I've seen it look so good. So that's another challenge I am putting on myself. Now, I went to another store in Kyoto called Edison, which is an electrical supply store. Apparently, that's what it is labeled as. Now, it does sell electrical goods and white goods, but it also sells stationery, makeup, health goods. It sells pretty much everything, and the top two floors are a food court. Um, so yeah, everything is in this building. Now, this was set up on a table. This was, I believe, the new range of watercolor markers from this brand called Akashiya, Akashiya, which is actually a really, really, really old brand. It was founded in 1716 as a brush making company, probably a family industry in Nara, and they started doing watercolor brushes, sorry, watercolor markers in 2007, and I believe this is their new range. Now I got the pale selection, I believe it's the pale range, because I really liked the colors. They felt very spring and would make really nice botanicals, as seen on the cover. I really liked that. Just definitely suck it in. And so they also had this watercolor brush with it and a black overall marker, um, which is a little leaky, I've noticed. So that is something to keep in mind. Now, advertised with these brush sets was this paper made by the same brand. Now, there were 5 different kinds, and they ranged from smudgiest to least smudgy, which I think translates better to like bleed to least bleed. Well, yeah. Um, but I wanted to test them out and see how they work with the watercolor and create some designs with them. They were quite inexpensive, so I grabbed the most and the least of the smudgy and left the other 3. And I do have a separate video exploring that should be coming out soon. Um, so if you're interested in that, you should subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, that will be out soon. In the same store, Edion, I also brought a bunch of Pilot and Pentel products. They're both Japanese brands. So I brought these juice pens in the pastel and the metallic range because they were significantly cheaper than you can get Pilot in Australia. And they wrote really well on the black paper. I brought just 2 plain biros because they were really smooth writing, and getting a nice pen it can be a game changer, I swear. And then I brought these from Pentel. Um, they're their dual markers, so they've got like their color, and then they have some sort of mica or some sort of sparkly pigment in it, which I absolutely love. I've used them in all my Christmas card writing. I've used those dual metallic markers. I also brought fine liners from Pilot and from Kuretake. And I brought some Copic markers. Now I have one Copic alcohol marker, which is black. But these are their acrylic range. So Copic Acrylic is acrylic markers. And I brought these because they were for Japanese sale only, and I don't like to miss out on a special. I'm very good when I don't look at it, but it was right there in front of me, and I really did want to test it out and play with it because I have the Artex acrylic markers, which I have been enjoying lately, and it was only $16, which was really, really cheap for Copic supplies. And saying I'm a sucker for limited edition things, that is what this little San Reno pencil case was. It was 25 years of San Reno, and I got the Kuromi one because Kuromi is my gal. I'm also partial to cinema roll, but I'm very excited to have them just because I like the aesthetic. Now, I brought these brushes from Hiroshima Brush Store, which I will link below like I have everything else. But I 100% recommend going to it if you are in Hiroshima. I recommend going to Hiroshima if you are going to Japan. But if you're in Hiroshima, you have to go to the brush store. They make the brushes themselves, they have for years, and they're absolutely fantastic with watercolor. I have been messing around with them with watercolor and gouache over the past couple days, and I have enjoyed using them so much. Now, this was the first place in Japan I went to. So I brought possibly a little more than I would usually. And I got this petite palette from Sakura, another Japanese brand. I thought it'd be very portable and I might use it on my trip. I did not. But he's very nice to have, and I will definitely be messing around with it soon. So I also got this watercolor paper from brand Taniguchi Matsuro. Um, this is Wagami Koji, and it is postcards, very similar feel to the um, smudge, most smudgy paper from the previous cards that I showed. So I am definitely excited to play around with them to see how they go. They were sitting right next to these um, paints that I brought, the Gansai paints from a brand called Kisho. They have a long history of making art supplies, starting with Tsumi ink and then developing Gansai, their own Gansai. And these are really dark, muted colors, which is quite different from the Gansai Tambi that I already have. They're very, very beautiful, and I want to use them in conjunction with the ones I already have. Um, they're stunning. Um, I they are all swatched out in a separate video that is coming out very, very soon. Hopefully I'll get that in a few days of this one. Um, and hopefully you stick around and enjoy that. So yeah, no, definitely like those paints. Now another art supply store that I went to was actually a small stationery store in Kyoto called Teramachi Sanjo. It looks like a stationery store till you go up the back and there's all these art supplies. So I brought some Turner acrylic wash. I've never tried acrylic wash or acrylic wash. So I definitely want to try them out. And I know Turner is a good brand. It is also a Japanese brand. I didn't realize that it was. So they were really quite affordable. And I brought these Tombow Eurojiten pencils in. I I brought them because I liked how they looked in the book. I have heard of Tombow, but I didn't realize that they made pencils. I only know them from their watercolor markers. But they've been making pencils for a really long time. Um, Now I don't have any of their watercolor markers, but I do want to try them out. But when I saw these pencils that look like a book, I was gone. I absolutely had to have them. Um, it's a really, really cute setup, and they look really lovely. So if you're someone who likes color pencils, and you use them a lot, I don't know how these sort of hold up in that aspect, if they're a good quality pencil, but they are very aesthetic and they would look really, really nice on a bookshelf. And this color range that I have here are absolutely stunning. And I will definitely be using them in my sort of relaxing sketching range. Um, Now, they do have a few other ranges that I didn't get. Um, they had a very limited number of them there, um, but I'm very happy with the ones that I was able to get. And I also brought some watercolor pastels from Pentel. I am not sure how good these are, but I like watercolor and I like oil pastels, and these combined seem great. I know that the Neo colors are very, very popular, so hopefully these will be something like that and I can enjoy them. Yeah, that is all for my supplies that I brought in Japan and all my lovely art pieces and stickers and all these goodies. Um, so thank you for watching. Um, I've got a lot of other things coming up. So if you're interested, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.